Good afternoon. My name is Josue Cortez. For data visualization, data 625, we're gonna do a product recommender evaluating tea. As you can see, tea is easily in the top 10 items, sitting comfortably at number 3, just behind coffee and bread. It is typically sold between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. and it encompasses somewhere between 3% to 11% of all purchases per hour. We ran a algorithm to determine what are some rules that could help us identify who we should be recommending tea to when people walk into the door, right? So the customers come to our business, who should we be offering tea to? Now this is cluttered and there's lots of values in here, so we're going to filter this for values that make more sense, right? And so to get an idea of what it is that we're looking at, the support means, how often an item set shows up in all transactions, whereas confidence means how often, in this case, tea appears when, say, cake appears in a transaction, or also sandwich, right? So when you go back to all the rules, you may think that coffee is a great antecedent for transactions that you should offer tea. However, the reason this is the case is that if we go back to all of the data, coffee is just a very popular item. So coffee just shows up in lots of transactions, and therefore it'll show up in lots of transactions with tea. But what this shows is that when cake is purchased, and that happens in 2% of transactions, in that 2%, 23% of those transactions also include tea. So this gives a high correlation, right? A 1.6 lift, which in other words means it is 1.6 times more likely that we succeed in offering tea to customers who purchase cake than the random chance of customers who purchase cake to also purchase tea. And so using this information for sandwich and cake, we're gonna determine and we're gonna come up with a marketing strategy that instead of spending money on ads or flyers or product placement, which could be beneficial, what we're going to do is train and incentivize our employees to offer tea to all customers that purchase cake and sandwiches. What you can see here is that there are somewhere around 30% of transactions of customers that purchase cake who do not purchase tea. But we know based on this recommender algorithm that people who like cake, they like to eat it with some tea. And the same is true for people who buy sandwiches. And therefore, our primary target audience is going to be one, our employees, and two, to have our employees recommend cake and sandwich buyers some tea. As you can see here, overlapping with time, that is going to be particularly important between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Thank you.